I have two works in the Wonderama exhibition. One of them is called An Exploded View of an Ugly Blouse, which is a very large corsage, and the other work is called The Possum Chain, but its real name is actually the Opossum Coat Chain. So both of the pieces have a relationship to clothing, because I'm very interested in the interface between clothing and jewellery, and between use and decoration, and the way all those things play off each other. So even though I move and I change and I make smaller pieces and I make more sort of conventionally jewellery orientated pieces, I keep coming back to that one thing, always. There are always stories, I think, behind every jeweller's work, and the stories are always really interesting, or they're always really interesting to me. So the particular story behind that work is that I bought this blouse. I didn't think it was ugly at the time. I bought this extremely loud blouse for my sister, who was not well at the time, and I thought it would cheer her up. And so I purchased this and took it to her, and she hated it. So I took it back, and it sat around for a long time, but there was something about it that kept it interesting. And so in the end I decided to cut it up and explode it. I'm very interested also in two-dimensional becoming three-dimensional, so something that is normally flat actually becoming three-dimensional, and the three-dimensionality of our bodies and how placing jewellery on our bodies extends that sort of three-dimensional kind of quality. The other piece is made out of a possum fur coat, and I guess what it is that materials trigger memories for me. So my choices of materials are always related to my own memories. And this particular one is from when I was very young, and I come from the South Island. My mother's family were sheep and cattle farmers up in the Southern Alps. So every summer that's where we spent our summers. And when I was about 8, the rabbiters were up there in the mountains and killing rabbits, and they strung them up along the fences. So there would be fences and fences and fences of dead rabbits, which was upsetting for an 8-year-old. Well, I was upset. And then I remember having a conversation with my parents, and they started having more of a conversation about pests and introduced species into New Zealand, and possums were also bad. And I had loved possums up to that point. You know, I thought they were, you know, very cute creatures. So the idea of making something out of an old possum fur coat was very interesting for me. And then I realised that there's this very strange situation in New Zealand where possums are vermin, and they are terrible, and people swerve their cars in order to run over them on the road. But at the same time, we've got this huge possum fur industry making possum wool that goes out to the tourists. So on the one hand, they're fantastic, and look, they're making us all this money. On the other hand, let's eradicate them all. Let's, you know, Agent Orange the entire area and get rid of them all. So that kind of is very interesting for me, the way that sits, I suppose, yeah. Fabric's really interesting. It's really interesting because it does hold all that visual information, and I strongly believe, or I suppose it's one of the things that I work with, is the idea that there's a material language. There's a whole language around visual art. I think we all kind of, yeah, take that as read. But the language of form and the language of material are two different things, and so if you take a particular material and combine it with perhaps an unexpected form, then you get this interesting result, which is when you're viewing it, you're trying to make sense of it, and you've got two bits of information that are coming there that are often opposing. So the two things that are sort of warring for, well, is it this? Is it a piece of jewellery? What is it? You know, and I like that. I like that sense that you're not necessarily sure. But the recycled material has been quite an important part of what I do. It's become almost taken as read in making work, making jewellery, making art, making anything, is found materials. You use found materials. They come with a pre-existing reading in a pre-existing history, that then you can build layers on top of that. You can take it away completely, or you can actually start to build extra meaning on top of that, and that's fascinating, I think. Yeah.